See, this is the problem. That joke was almost perfect. If he hadn't done the whole time machine, that was a perfect joke. Or if he had limited the time machine, that would have been a really good joke. But it's the fact that he just tried to, it made it dark. It made a joke that was potentially really good.
If you knew what you were made of, then we would save the world.
Look, don't get me wrong, yeah, I'm one of these people, like, when it comes to comedy's supposed to be political and it's supposed to be kind of like challenging, and I totally get that. I'm definitely not trying to put out the gag order, but the thing that I picked up with this joke is that there's definitely an attempt to push pro-rights, anti-black propaganda that sits beneath the surface on this joke. What it's based on is an ahistorical view of reality. It's very kind of like Nick Fuentes-esque, this idea that white people are historically predisposed to success and black people are historically predisposed to servitude and to having a crummy life. And this is the thing, it's crap because it's not based in any history. So I'm gonna watch this joke with you guys. It's not a very long joke, but let's watch it together and debunk this.
Sorry I'm being so negative. I'm a bummer. I don't know. I shouldn't be. I'm a very, lucky guy. I got a lot going for me. I'm healthy. I'm relatively young. I'm white, which thank God for that shit, boy. That is a huge leg up. Are you kidding me? Oh, God, I love being white. I really do. Seriously, if you're not white, you're missing out because this shit is thoroughly good.
And I like this part of the joke. This is quite funny. This is kind of Bill Burr-esque. Carry on. Yeah. I'm not a hater. I like you say, like, what, being white is great. I like that. That's cool. Good night. Nice delivery as well.
But let me be clear, by the way. I'm not saying that white people are better. I'm saying that being white is clearly better. Who could even argue? If it was an option, I would re-up every year. Oh, yeah, I'll take white again. Absolutely. I've been enjoying that. I'm going to stick with white. Thank you.
And I like, once again, I'm still with the joke here. I get it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, whiteness is flipping great. Yeah, I get it. You're advantageous in this world. Goes downhill, though. Let's check it out.
Here's how great it is to be white. I could get in a time machine and go to any time, and it would be fucking awesome when I get there. That is
dead. This is where it gets dead. It's kind of like it's not really a punchline, is it? Because it's just not true. He could have said, I could go any time in the past 200 years and go anywhere, and even that would be a stretch, because trust me, mate, you do not want to be on the coastlines of Devon when the Barbary Barbary slave traders were looking for people to capture. But anyway, let's let him carry on this joke.
Exclusively a white privilege. Black people can't fuck with time machines. A black guy in a time machine is like, hey, anything before 1980, no thank you, I don't want to go.
So, and this is where it goes downhill south, because he didn't really need to bring black people into the joke. He could have carried on with the white thing. It would have been dry and inaccurate, but I kind of still see where it's going. But then saying black people can't fuck with time machine, like anything, but he's essentially saying that black people's best time in history has been the last 40 years. Any time before then, black people have been at the bottom of society. So this is a dark joke. It's not, I don't find it funny, because not only is it historically incorrect, it's very disparaging, and he knows exactly what he's doing here.
But I can go to any time. The year 2? I don't even know what's happening then.
The year 2. Could you go to the year 2? If you went to the year 2, you wouldn't really find many white people around, and the ones that were around, if you got to take the Bible seriously, you'd be called lepers. That's the name that we had for you. Lepers or albinos, okay? Insula Albiones, okay, was the name of the Isle of Wight, where, hey, can you see the Insula Albiones, Isle of Wight, Island of Albinos, Island of Wight, okay? So there's a island there that clearly there was white people in during the Roman times, year 2, or kind of like late Greek, early Roman times, year 2 that you're talking about, yeah? And you were classified as lepers because you're spoken about in the Bible, yeah? So you, with your red hair and pale skin, would definitely be called a leper. And I don't think you probably would have been allowed to survive anywhere outside of Northern Europe at that time. That's just running. But yeah, feel free to take your time machine and go to Egypt or go to the Fertile Crescent or even go to ancient Greece and see how long you survive before you're captured and placed into slavery.
But I know when I get there, welcome. We have a table right here for you, sir. Thank you. Oh, it's lovely here in the year too.
Yeah, they would have done that. Do you know what Herodotus said around the year 500 BC or something like that about the Black Sea region? And that's Eastern Europe, so possibly people who look like you. He said that the slavery had been taking place there for ages. That slave trade out of Eastern Europe in the Black Sea region continued until 1867. It was the last slave trade to ever end. The last slave trade. So we have a continuous slave trade that took place for at the very least 2,500 years, and in all probability probably around 3,000 years this slave trade took place, and it was a slave trade exclusively of white people. But hey, no, you take your time machine and you go anywhere in history. The reality is whiteness has only been an advantage for around the past 200 to 250 years. That's when it started being codified into law. Even in America, even the early first settlers in America, whiteness was not an advantage. Okay, we saw the establishment of racism where whiteness became an advantage, and it wasn't an advantage in Europe either. So you can cope all you want, you know, about about whiteness being an advantage and being able to get into your time machine and black people being like, hey, later, no, I was good. Yeah, put me in a time machine and put me anywhere before the year 1600. In any part of the world as a black person. Trust me, I'm good. I'm good throughout the all of Africa. I'm certainly good across the Roman Empire. I'm certainly good across the Greek Empire, in ancient Greece. As a black person, I'm really good. You'll be hard pressed to find pink-skinned, redhead people in any of these times. Okay, they're all regarded as barbarians. So just be real about history, bro.
I can go to any time in the past. I don't want to go to the future and find out what happens to white people because we're going to pay hard for this shit. You got to know that. We're not going to just fall from number 1 to 2. They're going to hold us down and fuck us in the ass forever. And
this is the darker part of this joke as well, because this is a very real fear. This is a very real fear, and this is probably, I think, at the crux of why racism exists. It hasn't been a long ride, by the way, in terms of this domination of the modern Western European / Northern European race being in charge of everything. It's not been a long time. It's been a few hundred years. Okay, it's not a long, unbroken time in history. They've done a really good job at whitewashing history and convincing you all of these dark-skinned, coloured, black, brown people who essentially built everything. They've just convinced you that they were all white. That's all they've done. But that's very devoid from reality. But here is the reality. They haven't had a long ride, but it's been a very violent ride. And they are very, very scared of the repercussions. They are very, very scared of having to pay for basically what they've done around this world. They're terrified of it. So he's saying this. But this is at the crux of a lot of fear, and this fear has been written in by many of the kind of like early American patriarchs. This fear was there, you know, that they're going to be made to pay recompense. So in order to stop that from happening or to halt that for as long as possible, we need this system of racism that's going to keep us on top for as long as possible. Because when we do fall, the fall will be very hard. That's the fear, at least, that they have. But I don't think they realize that we're not built the same way they are in many ways. So that barbarism that's in, you know, a lot of Western European culture isn't shared by a lot of the other cultures in the world. And that desire for revenge isn't there either. It's really peculiar, but it's not.
we totally deserve it. But for now, Now, if you're white and you don't admit that it's great, you're an asshole. It is great, and I'm a man. How many advantages could one person have? I'm a white man. You can't even hurt my feelings. What can you really call a white man that really digs the, hey, cracker? Oh, ruined my day. Boy, shouldn't have called me a cracker. Bringing me back to owning land and people. What a drag.
See, this is the problem. That joke was almost perfect. If you hadn't done the whole time machine, that was a perfect joke. Or if you limited the time machine, that would have been a really good joke. But it's the fact that he just tried to, it made it dark. It made a joke that was actually potentially really good, because everything apart from the you know, I can go to any time in history and it would have been shit for black people and would have been great for me. That part's just offensive, and it's not true, and it's factually incorrect, and it's everything that's basically wrong. But apart from that, it was a really good joke. If you're just maybe limited to since the 1800s or whatever, or since even 16, like since slavery, like it's been great. Like that would have been, yeah, quality joke, really well executed. It's a shame. It's a shame we ruined it with that one inaccuracy, which made it turn it from being a really good joke to just being basically an offensive pile of tripe. So there you go. Anyway, that's my opinion. I'm sure you disagree with me, and I don't care. But if you do, agree, disagree, like the analysis, put it down in the comments. We'll have a little chat. Peace.
If you knew what you were made